So we're gonna start this off with Joe Biden's most honest moment about the state of the United States. I mean, this is the most honest Joe Biden has been. So he attempts to describe the United States of America in one word. And this is how he describes the United States. I can't.
America is a nation defined in a single word.
What is that?
I don't know. Whoa.
Oz,
Am I tripping?
Dude, either the shrooms kicked in or that's so echoey as a mother. Holy cow.
Hold on. Is that you?
It should not be doing that.
Hold. All right, what if it's me? Is it me?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
Play it again. One more time. Play it again. Play it again.
Yeah, play it again.
I can't get enough of this one. Play it again.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
One more time. One more
America
again.
is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going
to he's that's 81 million votes, ladies and gentlemen. That's the president of the United States. I've heard it like 7 times.
Oh my God.
Every time who's the way doing?
I'm literally crying right now.
Fam, there's a lot of reports that Vladimir Putin
oh my God, guys,
is demented and he's losing all his mental faculties. But our president,
really?
sharp as a spoon.
Doesn't that aptly describe the state of the United States right now, though?
Oz, one more time. We got to. We have to. I mean,
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
Oh my God, I can't. Wow, I don't think I've laughed that hard.
Almost, fam. We're gonna get accused of ageism, accused of bullying. This is just awful how they played that 6 times on the Convo Couch. These right wingers repeating Joe Biden saying America can be described in one word. That's our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching the Convo Couch.
It's, okay. I'm gonna start sounding like Joe Biden. How do you? Okay. Okay.
All right.
Think of I don't know, dead kittens or something.
With the fingers like this.
So one of the things that we're reminded of all the time, especially when we go down to the global south, and our friend Terry reminds us of this all the time. She says, when you talk about America, America's a continent. It includes Canada, it includes Mexico, actually. I mean, technically that's Central America now, but originally it was always North America. So this map just basically shows America can mean the North and the South of America. When you say America, it's you got North America, you got South America, you got Central America. So I just wanted to point that out too, because it's good to kind of look at things that way. Back in the days of Simon Bolivar, they considered them Americans. The South Americans were the Americans at that point. So it's
Don't
just
you
good
think it would be
to
okay
know that.
If they just took the A off of America when they're describing the actual proper United States?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Say America. And I say America. make it a U instead of
Yeah.
an E. So it's like America.
America.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I
when
thought
I
we
was
lived
going,
in America.
when I was going to view houses today, they were like, "Oh, where is she from?" And they're like, "American." And they're like, "Oh, American." Like, oh, yes.
American.
But anyway, so that's that. There's a couple of more videos though of Joe Biden, fam. We couldn't resist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
to the
let's
next
go.
video.
Yeah, the next one, the Rumble one. The map
Yeah,
we just talked about. Yeah.
We just talked about it. Did you?
I'll give you 26
Okay,
seconds.
yes.
America.
So there's a map
with the United States of America on it, fam.
Canada, nobody thinks about Canada. Poor Canada. Then the United States, Mexico, Central America,
Joe.
and South America. You can see the big Brazilian flag. We will take Brazil next. And there we go. And that's
Central
all
America, fam, is the smallest bit of it right there. It's everything south of Mexico and everything north of Colombia and Venezuela. So it's that little spot right in the middle, that little chunk of land that a lot of globalists and American governmental entities are fighting to make sure they have control of. You know, they do talk about what's going on if they possibly did build a canal that went straight through Nicaragua, what that would mean for global hegemony. Can you help say that word for me, fam?
You sound like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Hegemony.
Hegemony. There's one thing that can be described with America. That is one area. Can you imagine what would happen to maritime laws and whatnot and shipping lanes and how it would change so many things? America controls Panama. That's their piece of property. That's, they have the say who goes through and who doesn't go through. You bring in Nicaragua and letting them go straight through from one ocean to the next. There's no way they're going to let that happen. Sitting still. They're going to come back. A lot of the empire, the people in the empire, once they're done focusing a lot of attention over there in Ukraine and whatnot, they're going to move their attention back to Central America. And they're going to want to, somebody said the other day on a show on Union of the Wanted, like the Russians are now in Nicaragua, and me, Niko, and like, I believe it was Steve, we all said together, like almost like stereo, the Russians have been in Nicaragua for quite some time. So, yeah, there's going to be attention diverted back here. And with DeSantis, fam, these words that he's propping up, this is an issue. He goes, it's very disturbing that the people chose, like you just said, the people who chose the democracy that they have. That's what's bad. So what you're saying is what the people, you want to go against what the people chose? Yeah.
DeSantis is, as you guys know, he's really not my favorite, right? But it's not because he's just a Republican. It's because he's an imperialist and because he's a hypocrite. He only supports speech he agrees with. He only supports, he supports American imperialism. And yeah. So this video is the Rumble video. I guess we're showing it here.
Well, it's
yes.
It's before we get to the Maduro part, I guess. But it's when you said the title, Biden's most honest moment about the U.S. and this is something we have to consider here. What he says, listen up, because he's telling you what's to come.
Mr. President, are you confident you have, I know you're looking for more money from Congress for this vaccine campaign and for COVID funding going into the fall. How much of the supply of vaccines for these small children is there, and how many of the nation's kids will you be able to get vaccinated before you need more money from Congress?
Well, we'll get through at least this year. We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually. We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead. That's not something the last outfit did very well. That's something we've been doing fairly well. That's why we need the money.
So, fam, not only are they trying to create this instant, nonstop continuous gravy train of finances, whatnot. They're pretty much saying it out loud. Joe Biden, we're going to have a second pandemic. Newspaper guy over here talking about what's going on in the mainstream media over here. Of course, this one was by the Las Vegas Review Journal. So the locals here are getting involved. It says an audit of COVID spending is requested. And this is what has to go on right now. We need local and state legislators to demand to see all the money trails and how everything is spent so they can bring it to the eye of the American people. Not that anything will freaking change, fam. Newspaper guy over here. But I mean, I hope it will.
You know, I have a hat.
Enough people.
I have a hat. I should bring my hat. It's not a newspaper hat. It's a real hat.
Fam, I know what hat you're talking about. I got it for you.
No, it's not that hat. It's
you got a more authentic one? Well, anyways, just like Castro, newspaper guy out over here. Read it. It's right there, fam.
You are not like Castro, please.
Fam, okay. They tell you what they're going to do right here. They let you know every single step of the way. The freaking mainstream people.
You and Joe Biden could have a competition as to who.
I know. We were talking and people would be like, are they speaking to each other? Or is that Charlie Brown's parents speaking?
It's tongue. Yeah. You guys speak to each other in your own tongue. So I have one more Joe Biden video that I added. So this is a Joe Biden video where we'll just watch it.
We'll just watch it.
So for all those Republicans in Congress criticizing me today for high gas prices in America, are you now saying we were wrong to support Ukraine? Are you saying we were wrong to stand up to Putin? Are you saying that we would rather have lower gas prices in America and Putin's iron fist in Europe? I don't believe that. So for all those Republicans in Congress criticizing me
another
today
one out there floating
for high gas prices in America, are you now saying we were wrong to support Ukraine? Are you saying we were wrong to stand up to Putin? Are you saying that we would rather have lower gas prices in America and Putin?
All right. Once again.
Fam, are you saying that you want to fight for freedom, fam? That's the price of freedom.
It's Vladdy Daddy's fault that gas prices in the United States are extremely high, right? Like it's his fault. He's, and they're not doing anything to Putin, and we're going to talk exactly about why this whole thing that they're trying to do is really not working. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm in Russia right now. The people are fine. The people are good. The ruble is going up, and we're going to talk about that. And things are getting more expensive here, but like in terms of for Americans, they're getting more expensive. So Nicolas Maduro, and the reason I put Nicolas Maduro here is because I want to shame U.S. Americans as to what they're never going to have as long as we don't have fair elections. Because today I made a Twitter post talking about how we don't have fair elections, and people were like, "Oh, you're pushing right-wing talking points about the election."
Are they really still saying that?
They're still saying that. But they don't know. They don't go to these countries in Latin America. They don't know that these countries in Latin America all have voter ID. They don't have vote by mail. They don't have ballot harvesting. They definitely don't have drop boxes. They don't have any of that stuff. They have one day of voting,
counting,
etc. Public counting, paper trails, more
accessibility, transparency.
And so Nicolas Maduro is somebody that, of course, the Venezuelan people who have stayed in Venezuela in spite of sanctions support. There are a lot of Venezuelans here in Russia that work in the petrol industry that work with Russia. I've met one of them. They're really nice people. They're really great. And they understand sanctions. They understand how that works. Here, I had to deal with not being able to use my bank cards, my credit cards when I got here at all. If I didn't have cash, I would have been SOL. But also, it's difficult to even get an exchange right now because sometimes they're not open, and it's that whole thing where you need like a bank card and you need rubles, and they do not take any American dollars. They can't essentially take American dollars. It's like the Russian law. So I got to experience a fraction of what it's like to not be able to access your money, to have money, but you can't access it. And that is just but a tiny, tiny microscopic fraction of what people who have endured sanctions experience. And it was not fun. And I had to actually have somebody give me rubles to help me out first because I couldn't get an exchange and I couldn't access my cards. These are very real things that people are dealing with at a scale that is extremely massive. And so Nicolas Maduro talked about the axis of resistance. And what that is this resistance that's built all over the world. Particularly, he mentions the continent of Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, Asia, and the Middle East. And he talks about how this resistance is pushing against the Western hegemony, is pushing against the attempt to impose digital and mental slavery on people. So let's hear what he says, because what he says is really based. It's really good.
El eje de la resistencia está en todo el mundo. Está en África, está en el Asia, en el Medio Oriente, está en América Latina, el Caribe. Y a ellos se suman los pueblos que luchan contra el neoliberalismo, contra el racismo, que luchan contra las distintas formas de colonialismo político, el colonialismo económico, el colonialismo cultural o el colonialismo digital, que es el que está en desarrollo ahora a través de las redes sociales. Colonialismo digital, cultural, todos los que luchamos contra el colonialismo, todos los que luchamos por la descolonización de la mente y de nuestro pueblo, formamos parte del eje de la resistencia frente a las maneras imperiales de tratar de imponer la hegemonía en el mundo. El siglo XXI es nuestro siglo. Es el siglo de la unión de los pueblos, de la liberación de los pueblos. Es el siglo de la justicia, de la verdad. Los imperios están en fase de decadencia y los proyectos de los pueblos por la felicidad, el desarrollo y la grandeza apenas están empezando. Este es nuestro siglo.
Gracias.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
So he did this interview, I believe, when he was in Tehran. And that's why he's saying salam alaikum, alaikum salam. So he says specifically, he talks about all the forms of colonialism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, he says colonialism. And he talks about the digital colonialism, like how they're the censorship and all of that. So, yes.
Yeah.
And then he talks about the mental aspect of that, right? How they're trying to control people's thoughts and you know what people think and stuff. And he says, you know, empires are in decline. This is our century. This is our time. And I firmly believe that. With what's happening in Latin America right now, I see that. With what's happening with Russia, China, I see that. Africa as well, I see that. The Pan-Africanism that's occurring. And so I think it's important that a leader says that. And this is what our government, our State Department calls a brutal dictator.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't really sound like a brutal dictator to me, but that's just, that's just my own personal opinion, fam.
Fam, I'm not that when I do that. Okay. We can dial the a little bit, but yes, I think a lot of people too, we have yet to get a chance to go to Venezuela. It's obviously on the dock for us to go there and speak to the people and understand what's going on. But, people have to understand what's going on in Latin America and south of the border right now. There's a change, there's a shift, and it's being done very tactically, very meticulously. Yeah, meticulously would be a good word there, because there are specifics.
Tactfully too, it's a good word. Tactfully. I mean, not everybody, but not everybody's doing this the same way. We can talk more about that in the next section, because that's kind of more along the lines of what we're going to talk about. But you're right. Absolutely agree.
The people want
so-
Maduro. You know what I'm saying? The majority of they want this guy to lead there. So
Yeah.
for us to go in there and say anything, to say boo about anything about removing these people, that this is not good, that the Marxists and all this shit is just, it's all guff. It's all guff. We need to stay the fuck out and let these people determine their own future.
100%, whether they're Marxists or not, we need to let them determine their own
Exactly.
future. Because
Decide what they
for the
want.
longest time, for the longest time, we've been having this Monroe Doctrine mentality. But I see some of that mentality seeping in on the left as well, not just on the right.
Yeah.
It's just in a different way. It's done like, well, these people need to be, more feminist, or these people need to be this way or that way, or they're too woke, or it's on either end of the spectrum. Just shut the hell up. You have no say in how these people run their country. Let them run their own country. End of story.
And it's false to say that they're ushering in woke ideology. They're not fucking woke. They're socially conservative.
Yeah, there's always going to be those attempts to mimic the United States and the West. Of course, that exists. But the vast majority of these governments are focused on literally providing water, stopping death squads, providing electricity, things that we take for granted in the United States. And, you just being in Russia just a few days, there are a lot of things that in America we take for granted, like space, having all this space, having the latest cars. The cars here are not, most of them are mechanical cars. They're not automatic. I mean, it's just things like that, we don't really understand. And people who have never traveled, this is why I advocate travel outside the United States if you can, because it really, really, really changes your perspective on things. Like I 100%, I would make that a requirement if I were president, is travel to different countries so you can really understand what goes on.
I'd like to live in your
Speaking-
theocracy.
Theocracy, exactly. Steve would have his own autonomous zone where he could do whatever he wanted. I already said that.
bullets.
You can have your guns and bullets, Steve. I swear. You can have Gomez roam free. Anyway,
I don't know if we can let Gomez roam free. He's not the type that you let roam free. He's so goofy. He'll get into some trouble.
Listen, we'll say Steve, whatever the place for him.